What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly BJJ podcast, Rafa Esparza, coming to you live for the last day of the PGF. We've been on an incredible journey here, and we're going to see the culmination of it with a featured 8-man bracket. But we also have some breaking news on some other things that are going to be going on here today. Joining me are my two friends who have put in incredible work this week, so let's give them their props. First and foremost, one, young Jake Watson. Jake, how are you doing, sir?
Raph, I am doing incredible. All I can say is it all comes down to this. The regular season's over. Davis Asare was at the top of the heap. We'll get a little bit more into that later. X-Marshall came out on top. And now it is the postseason playoffs, and I am so excited for it.
Beautifully said. Let's go to our other friend, one, Tim Freeman.
I know yesterday I said it was the day,
man.
But today's the day. I'm ready to wrap the pre-show right now and jump to the matches, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it. I can't believe that I was able to actually be a part of this week. It's been a real privilege. I'm super excited to see who comes out on top. Good stuff, Raph.
Nothing says stick around for this entire show like I'm ready to wrap this up right as we started. But, okay, we do have a fun show lined up for you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at our board for the last 8 topics of our PGF run for Season 6. We're going to start right now by updating you. If you're just joining us right now and you want to know how the week went, we'll give you some updates. We're going to start with the final team scores. So we're going to have you, Tim, outline how the individuals did for the team scores.
Absolutely. So, not tons of surprises, but a few surprises on the individual scores. Got the leaderboard up here with Davis Asare rounding it off at the top. Elijah Carlton, unlikely. A lot of people didn't pick him to finish up near the top. He came in at second place. The kid, Jett Thompson, put on he just had a breakout week.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of folks did know about him, but a lot of folks did not know about him. He comes in third place. Varela, I think people thought he was going to end up near the top, and he did. Ben Eddy is a guy that a lot of people did not pick to come into the top 10, and he parked himself right in the middle, which is a pretty good showing for him. We rounded out the next 3 with Kevin Beuhring, Daniel Sathler, and Renato Canuto. Overall, pretty much the names we kind of thought would be up here, but we thought more of those big names would be near the top, and they really didn't end up near the top. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out with the 8-man bracket.
You know what it was? We sprinkled in a few surprises in there, and I think that's good. You want your superstars to be superstars, but then you want to come in and you want to be surprised. And I think if you look at it, there are some people who were highly undervalued. So we'll get into talking a little bit about that in a second. But Jake, why don't you, actually, no, this one's going to be me talking about the actual team scores. So in case you wanted to know who won this beast, if you were to combine Epic Roll and Black Rifle's points, you still would not make second place. That's unfortunate.
Wow.
However, they gave us some great matches, and yet First Phorm made a run for the team title, for that 100K for their team, and just came up a little bit short. X-Marshall was the clear dominant winner throughout the week, and it was impressive to watch them. They had their whole team sitting there watching, and yesterday during that celebration photo that they all got together, you could see them just elated. It's a really fun photo. The only person I might point out here is Keelan looks like he's deeply distrustful of everybody in it. Like he's looking at everybody like one of them stole his wallet and he's going to figure it out. Nobody leaves here tonight until they get that done. But that's 100K for just a handful of grapplers, and it makes you think, where else are you seeing it? So props to X-Marshall and props to all the other teams for their hard work this week. It was incredible to witness. However, now we transition into our fantasy draft, meaning we here drafted, as well as that dude over there at the commentary booth named Mr. Egghead or Mr. Head. I don't know which one's formal. Jake, walk us through how the fantasy played out, please.
Yeah, the grand prize for the teams was 100K, but for us, it was a possibly imaginary, possibly real, I never know with Brandon, belt for the winner of this snake draft. And it comes out, started out with me with a total score of 55 points. I don't know how I'm going to shake out the rest of it. I'm finding out live right now. But 55 points for me. For Mr. Freeman, we got a total of 67 points, so significantly better than me. Moving on to the next one. Can't wait for the finale of this whole segment. It's always the same.
Bring it on over.
Then Team Egghead was able to score how many points?
Well, it just slid behind it, but you got it now.
But you got 74 points, so let's see who won the final score. Team Esparza got however many 82 points. So, Raph, go ahead and have your moment.
I'm here to support you, Jake.
No, I appreciate that, Tim. It means a lot.
Hold on. Hey, reset the clock just so he has to spend 3 minutes talking about how great I am.
I'm not spending 3 minutes talking about how great you are.
Oh, I look at that. So here's the thing, guys. I ended up winning, but you can barely hear this, so just repeat what I'm saying. As your champion, I promise to serve with distinction. Say it to the audience.
As your champion, I promise to serve with lack of honesty.
Distinction. And I want to point it out that how many points did I get more than you?
I want to point it out, how many points did I get more than Jake?
And answer?
5.
Let's just say a lot.
Much more than that. Oh, okay. Shot on me. Oh, this is so great. Gents, so put 3 minutes, that's good, on the clock. Let's talk about how good my team was, though. I'm going to start with you, Tim. How was my team so good?
Well, your team, it is pretty good. I think that you really just kind of picked a bunch of guys. I don't know if you really knew exactly how it was going to shake out. I kind of think you got lucky a little bit, but I got to give you that. I would rather be lucky than good, and I certainly wouldn't want young Jake Watson's luck. I could tell you he did disastrous picking a team, and he actually tried. Raph and I were just like, hey, we'll just take whatever, throwing names back and forth. Jake was putting the names in the chat GPT, and he really...
No, it definitely wasn't.
Really fouled it up.
Listen, John Combs got injured day one.
Yeah, well, he wasn't on our team.
He was. I'm telling you that, man, I love John Combs. Very, very sad. I'm not even going to make a joke about him getting injured because that was terrible.
No, we're not going to joke about that. But we're going to continue talking about how good my team is. Now, talk about how good my team is, Jake.
You've already made me do this shtick before. You did a good job, Raph. Your team did incredible, but your team only did incredible because every athlete here at the PGF World showed out, and every one of them gave it their absolute best. And you happened to, in a snake draft, put yourself as the first pick. You were like, how am I going to organize this whole thing to where it best suits me on my show, on the bullpen for the grappling hour, and I'm going to make myself go first, and you picked Danny Varela. And so... here's the thing.
Okay.
You orchestrated it.
Eyes on me. All right. Let me talk to you about 2 things here. I'd like to give myself credit for just a few things before we move on. The first of which is this. As a collective, can we agree that it's good that one of us beat Egghead?
Yes.
Okay, right? Because we wanted the show to show that we're going to be better than him.
Right.
He has stats. He tries. He's very good at this. And he was roasting you guys thoroughly.
Yeah, he was.
I roast you guys, moderately. He comes in heavy roast. And I pulled away with it, right? But number 2, and this is the last I'm really going to talk about until we go back to do our regular show, the bullpen. Do you recognize the fact that my team was just short of beating ex-Marshall? If you add those points up, I'm neck and neck with them, and I still couldn't beat John Jacques. So just a little sad on that one. So anyway, enough about that. But it was really fun, and what I liked saying throughout the week, yes, PJ was giving me some mess for not picking him first, and yes, we had some words about it. But I think what was really fun was it was an extra opportunity for us to root for some of our friends, and it's always hard rooting against your friends whenever you pick it. At least with fantasy football, you're just like, oh, this is some dude who makes $15 million.
Right.
But the fact that now they're your friends, and you're starting to see people bet on them in that way gets us just that little bit closer to them feeling like true superstars, especially for the incredible work that they do. So we'll go ahead and move to our next topic, which is submission of the night. Gentlemen, you both picked a submission of the night. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Jake. What was your submission of last night?
My submission from last night was Matt Elkins getting this beautiful setup of a triangle over Kevin Beuhring. Kevin came into this match, and looking at how he was grappling throughout the week, you would think, man, this is going to be a close one. But Matt Elkins sets up this triangle from the mount position that had Eddie Bravo turning around to see the big screen replay. Not once, but twice, just wanting to see how he set that up. It was an absolutely beautiful performance from Matt Elkins. That man consistently throughout the week has known how to work the crowd. He's great on the mic. Steve Aiken was laughing, and he had the entire crowd on their feet. That is something that is so important to do, win, lose, or draw, and he did a great job of it.
Absolutely. Tim, walk us through your submission of the night.
Believe it or not, I'm going to pick the same guy. Matt Elkins submitted Jamie Carnall not once, but twice. You see, Carnall gets off on a technicality by picking Elkins up over his hip line. He tapped him, and he had to set him down. Elkins walking around at the crowd. Can't believe it. And he puts Carnall in a wrister. Check the wrist lock out on Carnall's right hand here. Elkins sets it up. He looks like a little mini Hemsworth. And there it is. And Carnall's forced to look at it. Tap, 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 tap. Matt Elkins putting a show on for us at the PGF. Nice work.
You allude to a twister, and I swear to God, a random Eddie Bravo appears. He literally came through this curtain and just yelled, 10th planet. So
that's how it works.
It is how it works. Very pleased to have that. So very, very happy. We're going to go to our next topic, which is updates. So we do have some updates for you guys. We want to walk you through them so that you're very prepared for tonight's festivities. Let's go to our first update, which I believe, Tim, you're going to walk us through.
Yeah, so I have a couple updates for you on the injury report. Ben Eddy, who is ranked number 5 going into the playoffs, has actually dropped out, and PJ Barch is gonna bump up into the number 8 spot. So that's really shakes things up quite a bit for this tournament. I would imagine there are a handful of guys, all 7 of them, that are kind of like, okay, Barch is back. They almost feel probably like they got lucky with Barch not being there. So Barch is going to be in. The other name on the list is Daniel Sathler. He was out yesterday. He had the day off, and he did show up today. He is back today. I saw him at the venue earlier when we were getting set up, and he looks like he's ready to go. So I think he's going to make a run for that money. Obviously, he's had probably 36 hours of rest going into this, so that should be a benefit over his other competitors in that bracket today.
Very nice. Thank you for that. And Jay, can you walk us through the bracket that we are going to see here? Actually, we have several kind of brackets that we should be looking at tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the aforementioned bracket from Tim, PJ Barch to slide into that number 8 to take on the number 1 seed Davis Asare, and Andy Varela and Kevin Beuhring will fight on that side of the bracket as well. And then Mr. PGF himself, Elijah Carlton, with Renato Canuto in the first round. And then an interesting matchup between the well-rested Daniel Sathler versus the absolutely emphatic 17-year-old Jett Thompson. That's going to be our main finale bracket for the PGF World Playoffs. But then we have this undercard bracket as well. And we have Matt Elkins making a return. Matt Elkins is going to take on John Chandler in the first round. Alvaro Pinedo and Evan DeWitt will fight on the other side of the bracket. That's going to be a 4-man bracket for the undercard. Winner of that will win $500. Should be very exciting and a nice way to get our audience warmed up. And then the co-main event of the evening is going to be a super fight. And that is going to be Nakaya Jackson taking on Kaida DeWitt. That's the co-main event. Kaya Jackson has been the PGF Women's Champ. I believe this is her 3rd title defense. Very excited to see that. What a day we have planned.
Absolutely. Let's go to our next segment, which is this. So not everybody can make the playoffs. And we thought a good way to kind of give some props to some people who have unfortunately not made it is RIP, which is give props to somebody who didn't quite make it to the end of the finish line. So I'm going to go ahead and start on over with you, Jake.
So my rest in peace, my ode to a competitor who did not make it is going to be Jamie Carnall. I believe that him and I shared a special moment. I have been cutting promos for this brand right here, Once Upon a Coconut, all week long. I think I've done like 16 promos for them. Jamie Carnall had that same sort of killer instinct mentality when it came to cutting a promo for them. He said, I want to do a shoey with a Once Upon a Coconut. I was not, contrary to popular belief, sitting on the edge of the mat with my shoe already off, waiting for someone to ask me, as some people in the comments section said. No, I just heard shoey, and I jumped at the opportunity. Now, I did not think about the fact that I was going to take my shoe off and then have to wear it again, but Jamie Carnall, he was just so exciting. As a personality, he's great. And I'm excited to see where his career goes from here. He's definitely gained some fans, and he's just such a likable character. It was a pleasure to watch him this season.
Tim.
So my RIP goes to Samson Phommabout. Samson is a guy who grew up in a terrible neighborhood, involved in gangs, crime, drugs, ran afoul of the law, and decided he needed to change his life, and he used martial arts to do it. His company, FaZe International, helps young athletes. He's one of 5 people in the world who was selected to represent the country of Laos to the BJJ community, so he's one of their ambassadors. He's an all-around good guy, and I think the overall story is this. If you're sitting at home eating Cheetos in your chunky Hanes sweats and you're thinking, I could do what those guys are doing. You can't, but you can go to your local jiu-jitsu school, get signed up, meet a great group of people, and you could change your life and benefit it from it just like we have. So I want to encourage you to do that. But before, I got one more RIP, and that is to Jake Watson's brown Cole Haan shoe. It's going to need a round of Valtrex before he can put that back on. It's hurting bad these days.
Brother, my shoe's totally fine. Trust me. If anything, my shoe's been blessed. It has one coconut.
I'm going to put that out there. Science will have to go into that with a little bit more of a discovery. But my quick RIP is to one Dane Leake. Dane Leake was the top scoring alternate, and I know how hard that is because once our main cast looks at an alternate, they start foaming at the mouth thinking, I've got a dunkable. And I want to give Dane his credit, his props for getting in there at a very, very tough part. And he did put points on there to the point where when you look at it, it was still enough where he could have made some moves, but respect to you, Dane. All right, let's move to our next topic, which is we're already thinking ahead to season 7. And I'd like to know right now, what are some things that we can do to improve? Now, our commissioner is very receptive to feedback as long as it's good. So what are some constructive criticism that we can give that can be implemented for season 7? I'm going to start with you, Tim.
Well, I got a couple that I want to run by you. You might agree, you might not, I don't know, but listen, no rest days. If you get hurt, you take a spa day, you got to give up 2 points. It's just like getting DQ'd in a match. I would really think that would push people to show up and get on the mats and compete. The other thing is, let's get rid of draws. If you draw, both guys lose a point. We should penalize you for not acting. You should take an L before you take a draw. That's my personal opinion to move the action along. And the last thing is, it would be nice if we could see some kind of bonus for the top 3 finishers in the bracket, just to encourage guys to get after it and not rest once they feel like I'm in place number 5 or place number 6. I think I can hang out and make it. I want to see things that push guys to compete and fight every match, every day. That's what I want. Those are my improvements.
The only thing I'm going to add to that is I think that a tiebreaker element should be if you did all 4 days. If you did all 4 days, that should be the immediate tiebreaker. Because if you didn't do one of the days and you're tied with somebody else, I don't think you should advance. Just my opinion. Jake, what do you think?
So my opinion, actually, I really love those choices, guys, and I think that they're very informed and definitely well thought over. It would take a little bit for me to unwind from all the work. We've been pulling, 10, 12-hour days, doing these pre-shows, post-shows, working, staying up until about 2 a.m., waking up at like 9 a.m. to get everything going. So for me to step back and analyze that would take a little bit of time. But from the place that I'm sitting, I would like to see a metamorphosis. We heard in the pre-meeting for the athletes, they want to up the professionalism as well. They want the athletes to conduct themselves in a better way. And what I mean by that is more for them to be able to attract even bigger sponsors to be a part of this event. So I guess if I'm looking for changes, I'm more looking for a metamorphosis across the board, which of course is the vision of Brandon McCathan and the team here at the PGF World. So I just can't wait to see what they do next. And I think that we're going to see some of the things that we already want put into full effect.
All right, let me just give you my quick ones real quick, and I think these are more show production things. The first and foremost one is we should have a flex schedule. So yesterday, we essentially knew who was going to win. Basically after the 4th match. I think you needed to put Nathan's match, since he was in contention to get to the playoffs, as your last match. It's what they do in football, and I think it's an important way because we were just keeping people from popping champagne for Marshall off the mats, and you don't want to take the attention away from the athletes. Plus, we were able to flex for the entire team. Why not for the individuals where it has more important value? Also, I want to say this. I think in the future, we would need to make a little bit better work of emphasizing the drama. They do a good job on the audibles, so the commentary team is telling you what's happening. But I know a lot of us are visual learners, so I'd love to see Egghead with a election night coverage, being able to move certain things back and forth. So if we can get them a magic wall, I think that's where we want to go. So those are my 2 improvements. But speaking of which, let's improve upon this list and go to our next one, which is I'm trying to figure out who should we get for coaches for next year. It's a high bar to follow, but there is a way to follow it. So, gents, tell me who you have on your lists for dream coaches for season 7. I'm going to start with you, Jake.
So So I actually was thinking the thing about this season was we had legendary competitors and coaches. We had Rigan Machado, Jacques Machado, Roger Gracie, Dean Lister, some legends in our sport. But then I started thinking, what about the modern era? What about some of the competitors who have made a huge difference in the paradigm of jiu-jitsu? And I was thinking people like Keenan Cornelius, Nicholas Marigali, Nick Rodriguez, and Wagner Rocha. Those are all people who are competing at the absolute highest level right now. And to see how they would lead a team, being competitors that are still active, I think would be very, very interesting. And it would kind of introduce this sort of cohesive environment where we get to cross-promote with different shows like the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, which is also available on UFC Fight Pass. And I think that'd be very fun.
Tim.
So, I'm going to pull a name out from a blast from the past here. A guy that is pretty well accomplished, but kind of falls off the radar every now and then is the great Dave Camarillo. He is representing Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu. This is a guy that is an expert in judo. He's an expert in jiu-jitsu. He's the guy that taught John Wick how to do BJJ. This guy is a stud. He's a great coach. He's invested in his athletes. I would love to see him here. The second guy I would like to see is Morris Buttermaker from the Bad News Bears. And I'm just going to read you a quote, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about him talking to his team. What's the matter with you? All season long, you've been laughed at, crapped on, and now you've got a chance to spit it back in their faces. And what do? You're out there like a bunch of dead fish, not listening, bonehead plays and mistakes. I mean, don't you want to beat those bastards? That's what I want to hear to the Dunkables. That's the speech I want to hear from the backroom curtain. So, yeah, those are my picks. Buttermaker, Dave Camarillo.
Copy that. Let's go to our favorite moments. So this week, we have been able to do some incredible things, and I wanted to say it's been a blessing to be here, and it's been incredible to have a first-hand seat to all of this. But I want to know for you individually, what were moments that stood out for you guys? I'm going to start with you, Tim.
So my favorite moment, even though ex-Marshall wasn't my team, I helped pick the first Phorm team. Now I can come out and just say it. I was truly, truly happy for these athletes to hold up that $100,000 check. I've been riding hard for the jiu-jitsu community for a long time, almost 20 years now, and it feels really, really good to see these guys get out there and make some money and get paid on a big level. So that was really my big moment that I really felt good to be here and be part of. And the other thing is, to be honest with you guys, I really, really, really enjoyed every day sitting down next to you guys and doing this show. It's been a real pleasure. So thank you very much. It's been probably the best part of each day since I've been here. So,
Jake.
Well, I definitely mirror that sentiment, Tim, and just being able to also go back and be in the Airbnb, share dinners with each other, planning these shows. I mean, I've had the most incredible week, and I'm eternally grateful. But I think that one of my favorite moments had to be Andy Varela and PJ Barch going not just off the mat, not just into a couch, but over a couch. And Andy Varela still held that back control. So he was so committed. And both of them, I mean, watching that match in the number 1, number 2 seed, you're just waiting for something to happen. And I think the fans got what they wanted. Even though it was definitely a chess match that was highly contested, we had one of the most, I would say, shocking moments of the tournament where you just don't expect people to go over a couch. And I think that was very exciting.
I have to say, as a production guy, and many of you in production will relate to this, my favorite moment was when the stream started working. Legitimately, once it starts going and I see that we can talk, that's easy. This part's easy. It's making it go, and we are truly indebted to the many people who helped us, and we're problem solving behind the scenes, especially when you're live. Live is a very high premium to do. But if you look up on over in the corner over on this side, you'll see one of my favorite moments, which was looking at everybody in the stands. Like, I don't know that you get people leaning in quite like what I was able to capture here. I just wanted to get one moment where I could see everybody staring and really into the moment. And it made me so appreciative to see, all right, we're all leaning in because that's what we want. We want to be able to lean into the sport and lean into the athletes and what they're doing. So thank you to everybody who came out or witnessed or watched. We do have one more section to get to, which is our peanut gallery. So let's look at this. And the little highlight section, we go through and we say, what were some of the choice comments that we've seen in the comment section? And why don't we start with our first comment, please?
So this is from DJ Balateo. Trying to see Dylan Dennis in this. Congratulations, you're the only one.
Come here. Okay. I just heard an oi, and I wasn't sure if that was in regards to that. And I was like, all right, cool.
Dennis. He's like,
He's like, speaking of which, I have appeared.
I'm here with my mom.
All right, let's go to our next one.
My mom. Okay. This is a comment that I chose. Mixed Martial Arts Nutrition says Blockafalkafi, which I decided to take to Google Translate and see what language that might be. Apparently, it was automatically detected as Somali, which means which balcony?
Don't jump.
Man, that's intense. I don't even know what it means, and I don't want to know. Maybe it's slang for cocaine or something. All right, let's go to our next one.
This comes from...
Oh, this is all you, bro. Go take it.
Yeah, this comes from Noah Gist. This is about Elijah Carlton. These ain't random Alabama grapplers. He's going to get cooked.
Wow.
You know, he's fresh as can be. He doesn't even have a sweat on him. He didn't even get steamed out there. He's doing fantastic. Sorry, you're wrong.
Sorry, you're wrong.
Let's go to our next comment. And it says he has not proved he can compete at the highest level. PJ Barch, Andy Varela, Renato Canuto, John Combs, and AJ Agazarm will all be there. Elijah is very unlikely to win. Well, it's a shame he's not going to be competing in an 8-man tournament tonight for $20,000. Oh, wait, he is. You're wrong. Womp womp. Hey, you know what's great about these things? Comment section. You can come back and find out you're wrong with us at any given time. But gentlemen, this is not the conclusion of our work here. We still have more work to do. We're going to throw it over to the main broadcast. But just to let you know, right now you got to go to Fight Pass to watch this. So Fight Pass is the only place you're going to be able to watch the excellent action that's happening. And then once you're done, stick around and watch the post show with us. We'll have interviews, we'll have analysis, and we'll have some highlight clips. So we're very happy that you guys have been joining us. We hope you've been entertained by this board. Oh, I'm so sorry. There was actually one more comment I think we actually had to post. I think I was asked about this one a little bit earlier from somebody in the YouTube section. They said, Raph, you know, I think Jake asked you a question, and I wanted to know if you could show him something. And I said, absolutely. So why don't we go and roll that footage?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I think right over here, you do see Jake Watson trying to attack Tim Freeman.
Strong
and,
Tim is.
You know, this is
Look at
right in the
this dude
middle
just
of our
rips
board
like
meeting,
up.
and you're thinking to yourself, guys, can we just finish this board?
Hey, but look at that
You
escape,
got lucky
though.
because you're on the ground.
No, look at that escape, dude.
You got lucky.
You had the high ground. If there's
I don't
one
know if
thing
we
I
can
learned
run
from
that
Star Wars
back.
Episode 3,
We cannot run that
high
back. We don't
ground
have the
is
time
very
for that.
important.
You were one act of mercy away from me taking that knee home with me.
Well, all right. You guys can debate about it. We'll bring you more in the post show, but we definitely wanted to show you how much fun we're having over here. Our appreciation to both Jake and Tim. Don't go anywhere. Check it out on Fight Pass. Come back and see us at the end of the show. It's been great to talk to you guys, and it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.
Yeah.